Big focus for lawmakers is addressing gun control. A big issue here in Florida are some of the different laws when it comes to buying guns. There are background checks for some weapons, but not for all. And joining us this morning to talk about some of that and what he would like to see in Volusia County schools is Sheriff Mike Chitwood. Always great to see you, Sheriff. Thanks for coming in this morning to see us. Let's talk first about some of your ideas for how you think you can help the situation in Volusia County specifically. And you came out on Friday and talked about some very specific things you'd like to see.
Yeah, we can't let Washington or Tallahassee solve this problem because they won't. In the short term, our deal is just what they're doing in Polk County, arm some of our teachers. We have teachers who are former military. We have teachers who are former police officers. We have teachers who are reservists. We have teachers who are concealed weapons permit holders. They would go through the same exact psychological background check. They would go through the same training that deputies went through. They would be armed. Nobody would know they were armed except for the principal and law enforcement. And the only time they would act, God forbid, if an active threat came into that school. Because as history has taught us with these shootings, the quicker you take the shooter out, the more lives that you're going to save. And that's the key. In Broward County, there was one deputy there. Yeah. On a campus of over 3,000 students, 2-3 stories high. Even if that deputy could run an 8-minute mile and could run a quarter of a mile in 2 minutes, 500 rounds had already been fired. So we can debate gun laws, mental health, all those things, but in the interim, the #1 priority should be keeping our students and our teachers safe, and I think this is a way to do it. You know, as the police chief in Daytona Beach, we had a reserve police officer program. They were postal workers, they were teachers, they were car salesmen. Those folks wanted to give back to their community. They're trained. They went through everything that we went through, and you saw them out there on the during the 500,
sure, yeah.
Directing traffic. They're out there working the wagons. They're out there helping in the detective division. So there's a resource that we need to tap into, because again, this isn't going to stop. We can sit and debate this. We've been debating this since Columbine, and we still have our students and teachers being slain.
We're hearing from teachers and students who are already saying, they're hearing sheriffs like you coming out with this idea, and they're saying, we're not comfortable with that. We're not comfortable. What are some other options? And if they're not comfortable with that, what else can we do? Well,
one of the things we all have to look at is targeting the schools. How do you make the design of the school tougher for an attacker to get in? Yeah. The problem is the recent attacks are coming from students or former students who know the lay of the land. These aren't strangers that are coming in committing these murders. These are folks who are quite familiar with that. And, and I know the students feel uncomfortable, but you have to look at where we live now. Look at the teachers from Blacksburg, Virginia, to what happened in Broward County. You have teachers that are putting themselves in front of a gunman or trying to stop the gunman unarmed. Their heroism and their compassion for their school is just amazing. Why not give them a gun?
Yeah. I want to talk to you about some of the gun laws here in the state of Florida, because I think a lot of people were shocked to learn after this incident in Parkland that if you walk in and you want to buy a handgun, that you have to wait 3 days, you have to be 21. But if you walk in and you want to buy an AR-15, the rules are not the same. Why is that?
Absolutely.
And should we fix it?
They should be fixed. You have to be 18 years of age and you have to be a United States resident to walk into Florida and buy a rifle or a shotgun. Clearly, that is something that the legislature needs to come after and they have to change. The other thing is mental health. You can threaten to kill your neighbor, your fellow students, yourself, and we come and Baker Act you. So we take you, and 7 hours later, 8 hours later, you're released. You come back and say, I want my gun back. I have to give you your gun back. And then that's just craziness. That's something that the legislature has to address. They're the things that we need to look at. We have to look at that.
Sheriff Israel from Broward County mentioned that last night in a town hall forum. He said that the Baker Act needs to be fixed, that the way it is written right now makes your job very difficult. So you would agree with that based on what you said?
I've had it happen to me and I've been sued personally. We had a war hero who goes off the rails and threatens to kill himself and anybody in his neighborhood. After hours of negotiations, we get him out. We seize his weapons. Well, 2 days later, he comes back for his guns. I said, well, there's no way I'm letting this kid get his guns back. Eventually, he is declared having a severe brain trauma that was never diagnosed before. Now the person went back to school and got his degree. His headaches are going, everything's going, and we returned his guns to him. And it's a great story of how it's supposed to work. But for you just to get your guns back 4 hours after you're in a standoff with police is absolutely ludicrous.
Sheriff Chitwood, we so appreciate you coming in, talking to us about this today. It's such a tough subject and so much to be done in this country. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. It's 8:14.